Let's get it out of the way right up top. This video will contain spoilers for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Alright, so you've seen the title. Just hear me out.
Gaming Cookie Guy
Entertainment.
I know I can't be the only one who thought that this final romp, this final bout from Indiana Jones was a little bit lacking, maybe not worthy of the occasion. And so I set out to do some creative writing to make a version that I maybe would have wanted to see, and it just so happens to involve saving Adolf Hitler.
What?
No, all right. I know that sounds bad.
And so we begin the movie in much the same way. We have the flashback, and then we cut to New York, maybe graft some of Salah's character onto Indiana Jones, that missing his adventure, thinking his life is completely behind him. He remembers being happy when he was on adventures, and that's mostly because the people he loved were surrounding him. Indiana Jones's son has died, and he is now a lonely hermit with nothing ahead of him. Now, at this point in his life, enter Helena Shaw. She resents the past. The past is what drove her father crazy. She is a woman who lives in the here and now. She lives only for herself. She still tricks Indiana Jones into giving her the dial. The CIA chase them both down. However, I'm going to skip the framing device, literally the device that frames Indiana Jones. There's no need for that. He should have enough skin in this game, just trying to get the dial back from Helena without needing to be framed for murder. They drop it in the original movie anyway, so why have it in there in the first place? After the mess in New York, the CIA cuts Voller out of the deal, and Voller goes to Tangier to attend a secret auction that has been set up by Helena. She has been going around using her father's notes and collecting artifacts to sell in a secret black market auction. It's at this point I should mention I'm cutting out Teddy. I literally could not find a reason for him to stay in this story. I didn't hate the character, but I think we're kind of past the days of Indiana Jones needing a youthful sidekick. I don't know. I mean, he could be in this version. I'm not totally against it, but I didn't have a reason to put him in. Let's have Salah enter here. Again, he's a bit of a foil to Indiana Jones. He's actually very happy with how his life has turned out. He has a whole family, a loving family. He is the opposite of alone. But at this moment, we can have Salah enter, give him something to do. He can set Indy up through his connection to get into the black market auction. It's here he sees one of Voller's men. He recognizes them from New York. Keep in mind, he has not seen Voller at this point. He follows Voller's men to their room and overhears part of Voller's plan. He knows that Voller already has one half of the dial. That's right, I'm skipping the quest for the other half of the dial. There's time that's going to be needed for other things. So he already has it. He's just here to buy the other half since he missed out on stealing it in New York. Voller wins the auction, of course, and Indiana Jones takes the dial and runs with it. He is out of there. Helena's chasing him. Voller is chasing her. Finally, Helena's the one who gets the upper hand on Indy. She takes the dial from him and smack. Just as Indiana Jones is trying to explain that she does not understand the gravity of the situation they are in, they are both knocked unconscious and wake up on Voller's plane. It is here that Voller divulges his master plan. Why does he keep them alive? It could be any number of reasons. Maybe he needs hostages. Maybe he just wants to rub it in Indy's face. For whatever reason, he's keeping them alive, and he is expounding upon his plan to go back to 1939 and assassinate Hitler and take his place, right all of the wrongs from World War II, and win the war. He needs the dial because it finds precise coordinates where time anomalies occur. I don't know, you can use the same explanation in the movie. Maybe throw in a fun line about how there's a lot of these in the Bermuda Triangle, which is why things get lost. I thought that would be fun. I'm surprised they didn't use that in the actual movie. Helena manages to free herself, and a fight breaks out on the plane, resulting in her and Indy jumping out of the plane with a parachute into this unknown time vortex. Who knows where it'll pick them up and spit them out. Meanwhile, Voller's plan continues as normal. He's going to the coordinates that the dial gave him. And this, more than anything, is my big change of the movie. I'm effectively cutting out the Greece and Sicily sequences to spend a little more time in the past, to throw Indiana Jones out of time. So it is in 212 BC, either Rome, or if we want to, we can put them right on Syracuse. But it's here where we get the bonding of the two, and we see Indiana Jones's pure admiration for the past and Helena's disdain for it on pure display as they kind of reconcile and have to figure out how to exist in this time period for however long they're going to be there. The pair now has to find the original Dial of Archimedes. They have to go to Syracuse, probably on a Roman vessel of some kind. This can display more of Indiana Jones's affinity for the past. He knows exactly what to do, where to go, to do all these things. This is where his archaeological smarts are on full display. And we can also have some quieter character moments here. We've had a lot of action up to this point. I actually think the original movie had a really nice moment when Indiana Jones is explaining what he would do if he could go back in time, how he would spend more time and try and save his son, while Helena is very much excited for the action. Indy's a lot more wistful. And so we arrive in Syracuse. Again, if we want to do more of a National Treasure / classic Indiana Jones feel, we can have them need to solve a riddle in order to find where Archimedes is hiding out, to find his workshop, or we can make it simpler and just have them walk up to the guy. It doesn't really matter. The point is they find him, they find the original dial. Archimedes is ecstatic. He thinks that they are there to help him out in this situation, but that's not the case. Indiana Jones needs to explain to him that he's not there to save the past. He's trying to save the future. And as a fellow man of history, science, scholarship, Archimedes agrees and lets them use the dial to find the coordinates they need. They don't take the dial. They need to leave it in the past for the sake of canon, but they do write down the coordinates they need. And so we cut to 1939, Berlin. And Indiana Jones, somewhat conflictingly, has to stop the assassination of Adolf Hitler. That's right, we're actually doing the thing that the movie set up. There has to be an original or a prior version of the script that had this scene in it, and I get the ethics of it are dubious at best. So I understand wanting to go a different route, but I really think if handled correctly, this would have been the scene to keep in the movie. And so Indiana Jones and Helena are waiting for them. That's right. It's time travel. They could have jumped to an earlier point. Voller already told them exactly when he was jumping to. They've gone a couple days before that, maybe a week to prepare. And they're on the train that Voller is going on into Berlin. I think it'd be fun to start the movie and end the movie with a train fight. We got our last big action scene, and I want this to be a big action scene because this is probably the last Indiana Jones action we're going to get to see. And so we do the whole thing. We probably crash the train, and it ends with our three main characters, Helena, Indiana Jones, and Voller, kind of talking about what happens next. They're all wiped out from the fight. They're all very badly injured. What's next? Voller is pleading his case. He wants to kill Hitler, but he also wants to make the world a utopia for a very specific group of people. But he thinks his intentions are right. He wants to know why Indiana Jones is going to fight so hard to save one of the worst people to ever live. And forgive me, I can't do a Harrison Ford impression, but I'm thinking he says something like, "'Cause Hitler lost." And so Indy kills Voller, and we're down to the last big conundrum. What to do now? Should Indy take matters into his own hands? He knows a lot about the future at this point. Is it up to him to right the wrongs of the past? And now we have Helena. She has to be the one to convince Indiana Jones to stop trying to mess with the past. Like, this has been their characters from the beginning. He's attached to the past, she's attached to the future. And they've had to come together a lot of times throughout this movie, and they have a new perspective on their opinions. And she now has to use some of that perspective to convince him to let go. He doesn't know what changing the past will do. Yes, he could make it better, but butterfly effects being what it is, he could erase his son from existence entirely, not save him. He could erase her from existence. How many lives is he willing to potentially jeopardize in order to save the ones from the past? Indy's not sure. Indy doesn't know. He doesn't have any future to look forward to. All he has is in the past. He wants to change things. He wants to have a better present. And Helena has to remind him that it's never too late to have a future. And so they take the dial from Voeller's corpse and they use it to go home. And again, showing character growth, Indiana finally lives up to his promise and destroys the dial. This is a very symbolic victory. Throughout all of these movies, Indiana Jones has never wanted to destroy any piece of the past. He left the Ark of the Covenant in one piece. That's the main example I can think of right now. But he's been very much about preserving the past. And this will show that he is willing to let go. He will destroy, he will abide by his friend's wishes, and he will try to move forward. He reconciles with Marion. We pan over to the hat. Roll credits. Anyway, that's my version of events. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I'd love to hear what you think of it in the comments. If you liked it, please subscribe for my next incoherent rambling. I will see you then.